seeing it and being like, what's this? But like almost immediately I was like, I got it. This is my app as it exists today.
Hi, Janice. Thank you so much for joining. Janice has been a user of Dessn for a few months now. And one thing that we agreed on from day one was prod was the source of truth. That was something we connected on. And I think was something that got you excited to try Dessn. But yeah, I would love a quick intro from your side.
Yeah, so I'm Janice Policinski. I've been a design engineer long before there was a title for it. I played a lot of different roles in product design. I see product designer to leading and managing our design team here at Greenlight, but I miss building. So I shifted back to focus more in a design engineering role. And so I've been kind of focused on how I can help improve the product and ship to prod every day.
And one thing that we learned with you is that a lot of your backlog isn't just creating new features, but iterating on your existing pages.
We've all made Figma prototypes at some point that, you don't hook up everything and then you're like, where on this page can I click? And handy little, blue outlines just to lead you through.
But production, you can click anywhere. And so being able to reproduce prod is really powerful.
But this is a page that was built with surfaces. We have the navigation, we have the buttons in place, like the icons are correct. We have our AI summary feature, the drop downs are built in, that sort of thing. So right off the bat, it's like, I don't feel like I have to take that 30, 45 minutes to get a good starting point. I can just go.
Awesome.
As a design engineer, I spend most of my time in kind of cursor. And so I get used to kind of the code, knowing the features. And if I have a question of like, if I change this to an effective status, what are my buttons available? Or how many buttons can show up here? Because we recently released a feature for Google Drive and Microsoft Office integrations, and it adds a lot to the UI. And we really want to redesign this page because the addition of these features has just made this page too button heavy, to say it nicely. It needs a restructure completely.
Nice.
So what I ended up doing, I just asked the chat, like, there's a ton of states. Mm-hmm. I need help kind of thinking about all the different variants of this page. Mm-hmm. Can you build me a control panel so that I can easily switch this document for all of the various states that we might hit, so that if and when we do a redesign, we have that checks and balance as to, do all the states make sense? Are all the buttons accounted for? I just asked it to do a quick follow-up, make sure we understand. After one follow-up prompt, we have this preview state drop-down.
Nice.
So I can add my Drive integration. I can choose, without me even really realizing all of the different options that we have, I can choose the state of my sync. If Google Drive needs to be reconnected, I can apply that. So now our document's effective. We have our Google Drive buttons. It's in this like disconnected state. See all these, it's a lot and it needs some help, but this helps us get a better sense of like what it is today, and then we can take this and start tweaking and iterating.
I love this.
Could you open the preview state toggle again? I want to see all the states. Yeah, so this is cool. I mean, one of the features we want to build soon is called exploding states, which is this idea, right? I think, your app has so many states and there's so many permutation of your states, and you almost never see all the states together, and there's like one state and this state together has one kind of impact, and you can just now see it in one shot. You don't have to like set up anything locally to check this out. It just works.
Yeah, and there's, certain ones that are reliant on others. So like if I'm in review, then I get another toggle of like, are you specifically a reviewer? Are you just viewing this? And like on one page, it seems simple, but there's so much going on this one page that's impossible to really design for effectively unless you understand the business model behind it.
We talk about designing in production, right? And this is the medium you're designing in. And the truth is your production has really complicated states. You have so many users, and the more you design it, the more complicated it becomes. And sometimes when you design in Figma, it kind of gets hidden, right? Sometimes it's less about the pixel pushing, right? It's about like, if I am this user doing this thing, what does the app look like? Mm-hmm. So it's awesome that you can do this now.
Yeah, and depending on the permissions level, there's going to be things that you can and cannot see as well. So it definitely gets complicated when you think about the number of states that you can get into.
In Figma it gets hidden, but it's not hidden, it's just missed because the onus is on you as a person to remember every single state and create it. That's maybe too much, just too much work, right?
Yeah.
And I love seeing this too because I really think it is the full circle. I agree, Nim, of like designing in prod, because designing in general is about states. That's what design is. It's exploration in different states as a user. And so being able to work with states, I think is necessary. And I'm so happy that we finally enable it in a really powerful way.
Yeah, and when you connect to your code base, to getting to this page and seeing all the different states, like, could you tell us like how much work you personally did on kind of getting here?
For this particular prototype, it was literally, this first prompt doesn't even matter. I said, change document to a draft state. But then I was like, instead of that, like, let's just get something where we can have them all. So it was one prompt to say, help me figure out all of the different states. And then it asked me a couple clarifying questions about how I was going to implement it. I followed up shortly with those, and that was it. So it only took like 5 minutes of my own time to really think through.
Nice. That's awesome.
If you could click on the surfaces button, I want to see all the surfaces in one place. And another thing I kind of want to outline is we built this kind of big compiler thing that compiles your entire code base, makes surfaces without you having to do any work. You just came to Dessn and you saw every single page that's ever existed all there for you, and you can just click it.
Yes, this has all of the various modules in our product, every single surface. There are definitely some that I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot that we even had, this page in there.
I think one day if you think of an infinite canvas and this is like a flowchart, you can basically see a user journey, and that would be cool one day.
So basically this is 10 feature launches in one.
Yeah, exactly.
Exploding states canvas.
There's so much you have to build.
If by chance we can jump back to the surface that has the drop down.
There we go. This one.
Thank you. One thing that I think is underrated or we just don't think about as a superpower is like these states are about QA, right? And like the function of QA and design and how they overlap, because again, you're just designing for different states. And so the only other way to normally do this is to go in prod and like test each one of these states and enter these states, is log out as this user and log in with this user. And like the process is so painful. And I think consolidating them into one experience with a drop down and like being able to click through the states is, I'm really excited about that. I love that this is a use case that came out for you like so quickly, because yes, there is like, you want to design on top of it to create a new state, but sometimes you just want to audit, and you're just like looking at your product and you need information, and Dessn can be a really powerful way to just get information to make decisions. Is that something that resonates with you as well?
It's like from, someone who interacts with Cursor and asks Cursor questions on the regular, like you get the exact same functionality with this, which is a huge benefit for my design team, who still sometimes struggles to, like, they have Cursor installed, they had prod working at one point, or they had localhost working at one point, but something changed. They were off on discovery for a couple weeks, came back to local dev and typed in the normal commands and it doesn't work. And so they feel a little bit uncomfortable asking for engineering resources to help them get their local back working. So I think this was just, it removes that barrier and just lets them play and experiment without needing that level.
Was it you who kind of were using Dessn and you were able to create something really quickly, and before the other person stopped talking, you were able to make a prototype?
It was kind of funny. I think I had gotten access to Dessn beta like a week before we had our company on site. And part of the time that we had on site, we had a hackathon, and we got into like kind of little groups, and we had a couple hours for the hackathon, and somebody had an idea, and I just kind of voice recorded our conversation of us talking about what we wanted this feature to be. I put that voice recording into ChatGPT or Claude, I can't remember which, but I just had an LLM translate that script into like a rough set of requirements. and pasted that into Dessn with the variant. I think I did like 4 variants, and kind of before we really kind of finished the conversation or had, before kind of the excitement about like what are we building was over, I had 4 different kind of screenshots and prototypes to show them of what this could look like. And I was like, even if it was a very rough initial concepting, it was able to get kind of everybody on the same page as to this is what we're building, like to put that visual to the idea. And then it kind of prompted better feedback between like the team members as to what it needs to do, what it doesn't need to do, and kind of just ideate a little bit deeper now that we had that kind of that visual to anchor it.
Alignment.
Yeah.
It's about alignment.
And specifically like in your code base, right? I think the really tough part is like once you can see a prototype that kind of has the DNA of your product, right? It's like the conversation is different. Like aligning is so much different.
Mm-hmm. Greenlight has 3 different products that we're currently putting our focus on. And in that same meeting, I did the prompt in, I think, 2 out of the 3 environments. And so we could see the feature with 2 different design systems and 2 different design patterns to see how it would work in both, but we still could get the same functionality. And that was pretty cool to see too,
Nice.
to compare them. When we're thinking about how we want to use it, one thing that I was excited for when I started playing around with surfaces is that it also has context of anything that's in prod. So even things that are under our feature flags. We have a new feature coming, and we had a Dessn prototype for this feature before surfaces. It goes through, the development process, and naturally things shift and change a little bit as you go through the development of it. And instead of kind of going back to the prototype, recreating it to what ended up in prod, it just showed up on the surface page, and I could just start and iterate and add more features from there. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's, again, we didn't use prod as the source of truth. These pieces aren't possible. They just aren't. And so an MCP or like extracting your components and then you're back outside prod, like none of these solutions are able to solve these problems and match the way of building in the same way. Thank you so much for your time, Janice.
I'm always excited to see what's coming next. So
thank you.